Oh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, awesome.
We're live. I got my active audience watching me and laughing with me. They're the actually real heroes. They're on vacation. They're my sidekick over there.
Second, yeah,
Frankenstein, Rappy, and the other one said she was Batichica.
there you go.
There you go.
There we
Oh,
go.
good.
I remember watching it in
I don't have
Spanish
rights to this
back in the
music.
day.
You
Yeah.
have been watching her in
In
Spanish?
Spanish, yeah.
No
I
kidding.
might
I
have,
wonder
yeah.
who
What in the
makes
boy?
her
It was the.
voice. Who does her voice over?
Oh, I have no idea.
Do
Somebody
you
that does
know?
all the voiceovers for all the.
She actually is Hispanic too. You know that? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, her mother's Argentinian.
Here
Yeah.
we go, guys.
Something
Now
like
the
that, you know.
timer.
So she
Two
probably
minutes,
could do her
30
own
seconds.
voiceover, you know.
Welcome back. Good evening, mi gente. Buenas tardes, mi gente. Here I am today. I'm going to be sharing my space with the actual real superhero. These are the genies, the creator of all those comic books and superheroes that you hear about. Today we happen to have El Peso Hero. Hector Rodriguez is the genie creator of the El Peso Hero. He's from Rio Bravo Comics Book and also the co-founder of Texas Latino Com. We also have the company, another great superhero, Mr. Frank Percy. He's another art and illustrator that he can tell you about all the superhero that he illustrates. So please help me welcome this real life superhero. These are the guys that put their creative genie behind their desk and bring all the fun stuff and the joy of the superheroes that you guys like to follow. So to another occasion, here I am, dressed as a superwoman.
All right. Hey, completely bulletproof. Completely. Look at that. There you go.
And the lasso. So we're going to be speaking the truth. Here it
Absolutely.
is.
Like
Yeah.
The truth serum
It's,
or the
yeah.
true lasso, whatever they call it.
Yeah. I know there's a name for it. I can't.
lasso of truth.
I
Yeah.
think that
That's
the,
the
the
truth.
lasso of truth, right?
Yeah. But it has an actual name to it. It's actually
Does
too.
it really? I just call it the serum. The serum.
Oh,
That's
that.
another superhero that applies the serum of
Watch out
truth.
for
Which one is
that.
that one? So anyway, I know each one of you has so much to share with us. For example, all kinds of upcoming projects. Frank Percy has a book coming out. Hector has an ongoing campaign that he's going to talk to us more a little bit about it. So please, by all means, the first question I'm going to ask really quick: how do you guys got into this superhero world? I mean, what is a superhero?
Now the truth. Now the truth. Now you wanted to hear it, okay?
Go ahead,
My
Frank.
mother would sit me at a table and give me a drawing pad and a pencil and says, you know, just draw. That's it. That's
When
how.
you were a kid.
When I was a kid, a comic book, an open window, and that's it. And she
Oh
wouldn't have to
wow.
worry about me for hours. So it was a bit of positive reinforcement of something like that. But
Wow.
after that, it was just whatever. And uh, moved to New York City in the late '70s, and found a comic book shop that was the size of a department store. Lost my mind, you know.
Wow.
And yeah, there was Forbidden Comics in New York City. Um,
How old were you? How old were you?
14, 15, right in going into high
Teenager.
school,
Yeah.
you know.
Yes.
And I lost my mind. I was like,
Oh,
it wasn't a rack like in Kmart, you know, from Texas to Missouri to California. It was just a little spinning rack, you know. That was fine. But when you see one the size of a department store, it's like,
oh goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
you know. So that's basically how it really started, you know. And
Yeah, I kind of have a very similar story to
And what
Frank.
about you, Hector? How
Yeah,
was
because I lived in the border world, right, in Eagle Pass, Texas, and so this was in the '80s. Well, yeah, late '80s for me. I was, you know, um, the back for the comic book stores. I mean, all they had were maybe a spinning rack and the VHS rental, video rental place. They'll all be in the back counter. But it wasn't until we moved to Central Texas where they actually had dedicated comic book stores,
Nice.
not just like in the grocery store or behind next to the baseball cards,
Yeah.
right? And so, yeah,
That's
like
how
it
it
blew
was
my
for
mind.
me.
I mean, like I was like, and each Friday, my father would take us to go buy comics after school. And so himself being the black sheep, the geek in his family, watching Star Trek, reading Sergeant Rock,
Mhm.
Captain America, Mad
Oh my God.
Magazine,
That
you
was
know.
you, Hector? That
No,
was
that's my
you?
father.
Your
Oh,
father?
nice.
No
Yeah.
Lucky
kidding.
you. Lucky you.
Wow.
Yep.
Interesting.
It's a yeah, and that's how I just started just taking whatever, and I still collect comics. I have my long
You know,
boxes here in the back. You
when I
don't see
was
them because
about
they're like,
when I was about getting ready for this interview with you guys, just I don't call it interview, just two friends stopping over online because otherwise you'll be having here enchiladas, beers, and steak. I will be talking about this. So this is kind of that's what I'm saying. The chat
yeah, yeah.
online.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but it's like if you were in my living room right now. But when I was trying to learn the definition, yeah, what makes a superhero? So what I found online was a superhero is a stock character, right? That has supernatural abilities, and the whole sole purpose is kind of like a divine creation almost because they're fighting injustice. Basically, they actually the real law and order people because they follow the laws of the universe by taking care of the suffering of the disenfranchised, the fighting the bad guys basically, and keeping the public safe and fighting crime. And that's what superhero does. They just happen to have supernatural abilities. So that kind of got my attention because to me, what do we have today current that is similar to actual real superhero? Well, our boys in blues or boys law enforcement community.
Mhm.
They're the superheroes that are protecting the public, and they're there to serve and
and are
protect.
essential workers.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's right.
And fight crime, protect the people and fight crime. So
Right.
that's the definition of superheroes. So I thought, oh my God, here we are. We got two real superheroes.
It's definitely cultural, right? It's
It's
it's something
cultural.
that's long through history,
Yeah.
through right to classic literature, right, as well as the Friedrich Nietzsche, the Übermensch, the Beyond Man, just the greater, the
Now,
theory of the Übermensch,
now each one of
German.
you, like each one of you, which was in the one, for example, like for Fran that he was telling us how he got into this, which one was the superhero at the time for you that really like, wow, I either want to be like that superhero or I want to draw superhero like this superhero for each one of you. You go, Frank. Which one was for you?
Oh, wow. Well, from the time of
Well,
like getting my
Hulk?
first comic book, I mean,
Yes.
it would be wow, we're gonna go back in time now. We're gonna hit the
Oh,
vision. The vision
65, 70s. Yes.
the vision when he first came out was so interesting. The different artists that drew them, and I didn't understand, why the books look so differently. Didn't know that there were so many different artists drawing them. Other than I was a kid, it's just fascinating as the character. So that's what really I drew that character because I thought it was cool as best I could, as a kid. But that's what kind of got me. The first ones was the Vision.
And who was that? Is there one like Hulk or Spider
No,
Man, Batman?
that's the character now that you see in the Avengers, the one with the face that's red, that's an android. That they have the Disney Vinda, Wanda and Vision TV series on Disney Plus.
mhm.
That character, the synthetic, he's an
Yeah,
android.
yeah.
That one.
Wow.
What about you, Hector? What was yours?
For me, I have to go back to Lucha Libre, El Santo,
Lucha
El
Libre.
Mascarero de
Yes.
Plata,
Yes.
and for me, watching the old school. But yeah, I mean, because I lived in the border, so I had an amazing opportunity where I would go to visit my grandparents in Mexico, and I would consume Mexico film, Mexico's entertainment, right? And so they, and they have a lot of. I mean, people don't understand that during World War II, while everybody was busy in the war in the U.S., Mexico was busy filming, making movies. That was the
That's
golden
true.
age of Mexican cinema. And so
Yes,
they were just huge exporters of movies during that time. And so hence the industry was developed, right? And so, and then you had the bringing in the lucha libre characters, the lucha noir character, these greater than life real people, embodiments of superheroes,
that's true.
but you can see them and you can watch them fight in a wrestling ring. Very, very powerful stuff.
Right.
What about you, Frank? Which one was yours? Did you?
Uh, the character from that
Yeah.
uh, was the Vision in the early times. It wasn't until high school that I actually saw the art itself,
Okay.
and that was the Savage Sword of Conan, which
Oh,
is black, which
Conan,
was black,
Oh
yes,
which
yeah,
was black and
yeah,
white
yes,
magazine format. And
yeah.
yeah.
then I got this. I asked my art teacher, "Well, why is this so much nicer to look at than the crap that I do?" And I go, it says, "Well, because you don't know how to do it, you moron."
Oh
I
boy.
said, "Well, how do you do it?" I said, "Well, you just go like this and you make these lines, but you got to do them really well." Like meaning he didn't know how to do it, and he was just wasting my time. So I fell in love with that black and white of Conan and over
Oh,
the different
Conan.
artists who did it: John Buscema, Gil Kane,
Yep.
Ernie Choa, Nestor Redondo, Rudy Nebres. They were just like Frank Frazetta.
And
Yes.
Corsetto is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was just so much to pull from, high school. But then again, I walked out of high school not knowing anything. So
No kidding. It's funny because I remember Conan that he was one of my favorite, but to me, it's always been Wonder Woman. And I used to draw a little, not into comic, but it was more like playing with paper dolls. That was the extent that I did
hmm
Wonder Woman. If you remember those paper dolls, remember them?
sure,
That you used to trace them. So I will trace them to make it perfect. And then the inside will try to do her face, the dress, the chest line, the waist.
sure,
So that's the extent that I did. But I was mostly into watching the actual movie, the shows. But
right.
lucha libre, that's what ruled in my house. Lucha libre, and it was all Mexico. El Santo, el Blue Demon, El
Yeah.
Diablo,
Yeah.
todo eso, all those guys I grew up watching because that's what my father, my brothers watched. I was the only girl, so I have no choice.
Oh,
I
wow.
learned to fight through lucha libre with them because that's how they would train me. Supposed to say me,
Yeah.
hey, any bully comes at you, this is how you kick them. This is how
Yeah.
you fight.
Sure. Why not?
Lucha libre.
Sure. That's right.
So how cool is that?
Like
I know you guys are currently working all kinds of exciting projects. Um, Hector, why don't you go first? Because I know you have an ongoing campaign right now that is like I don't want to.
with
Uh,
crowdfunding. Yeah.
thank you. I
Yeah. No.
couldn't say.
Definitely. And so this year we celebrate 10 years of El Paso Hero. So it's our 10th year anniversary. So
Yes, sir.
I, you know, and what we're racing for is the collector's edition, which includes all 12 books.
Yes.
And I am releasing two brand new. Basically, it encompasses the 10-year story arc that we've been telling. That's been in the news and in the newspapers, magazines, all that. So um, it concludes the 10-year story arc, and we are also premiering the last two books, 11 and 12, within the collector's edition. So you just read it one go.
Of
Wow.
the
And it,
whole story with Nacho of the Peso
right,
Hero.
which is with this. I'm saying this is this story arc, right? Because I'm already writing. This, I've been writing. I mean, I'm always writing.
I got.
Um, but yeah, it's I'm really excited to share that conclusion. You know, it's the accumulation of a lot of stories. And like I know that with the Puzzle Hero, some of the stuff, some of the themes are has hit headlines, but what really gets the people is the character. Once you dig into it, it's all about character. It's all about Ignacio,
Ignacio.
um,
They call it
right?
Nacho?
Nachito,
Ignacio
yeah,
Nacho?
Nacho.
Nachi.
You know, him. try to maneuver through a very moral moral ambiguity environment. You
Yes.
know,
It's the moral stance. Yeah.
right? His moral standing, and so uh, I can't wait for you guys to read it. So
I
check it
can't
out. Go to
wait. I
Oh
can't wait.
yes, yes,
Kickstarter.
yes. I definitely want to see
And
it.
you, Frank, I know you are working also in another project. You mentioned something. You also writing a book or putting a book together. So this is like
Yeah,
a superhero doing their book thing, their book tour. This is gonna be great.
yeah, I hope so. No, it's
Yes.
going to be this summer. It's going to be end of summer probably for it's for its printing to start hitting the convention trail. I didn't do some of the spring, conventions. It was a little too early for me.
Yeah, yeah, I
But
agree.
the book is called Caribe the Hunted. Okay, it's
It's in
deals with
Carib, right? Carib.
Caribe that depending on where you're from is its enunciation. So
Okay.
I went with more of an indigenous Caribe
Caribe.
because Caribe,
Caribe.
Caribe,
Right.
Oh,
Caribe,
And then it's called Caribe Hunt. I just want to write it
the
here
hunted,
so it goes in the thing. Caribe Hunter. Is that what you say?
the hunted,
Caribe the Hunted.
the hunted.
Ooh.
Yes, yes.
So
check
It
yeah.
is. It is.
he should join Natural Peso Hero to fight all
There we
these
go.
Well, hey, you never know.
all
You never
the
know.
the bad guys.
You never know. Why not? Image did it. They
Yeah.
I
everybody
think
had a
that sounds like a
mashup over
great
there.
I
I
think
mean, like,
it sounds like
where
a
they
great
pulled
idea.
characters together, they weren't the same thing, but they pulled them together. So hey, well, you never know.
Yeah.
All right, I'm putting it right here in your sticker so we can show. It's called Caribe the Hunted.
Caribe, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Caribe.
Caribe is the hunted is a book is about a man who lost his team, kind of like the Arnold Schwarzenegger recon team in his last mission. It failed badly, and he barely escaped with his own life. And his team were basically lost on that mission,
Oh,
KIA, as he believed. There it gets juicy now.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
basically, they start popping up,
Huh.
and one of them comes up was one of his team members was Diego Soria, and
Nice name.
they did some things to him that the major Dean McNeil, D Mac on the street, has to find out, and he has to go through the dirty, grimy underbelly of the inner cities and all the way to the boardrooms of companies across the world.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a future, bit of a cyberpunk. It's very Mad Max. It's very Blade Runner, a bit of Predator, and a bit of Alien. So it's got a nice little mix. It's outer space and also on.
He has everything.
So it's a little. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Sounds like movie time. For both of you, I actually, as I'm
You and me both.
listening,
From your
I see
mouth to God's
both
ears.
of you. I'm not kidding.
Absolutely.
I'm just not saying this. I
Hey,
actually, as I listened to Frank speaking, I actually saw this in the big screen.
I have a
So I
question
vote
for
for you
Frank.
guys.
Sure.
So Frank, so is this are you the writer, artist, or the
Yeah.
creative?
Basically, it was when Marvel imploded in the mid '90s. I went from someone having regular inking work to like a regular job as a stock clerk, and I really hated it. And I said I was still going to a few conventions, but I wasn't going there as an artist. I was going there just to see what was going on. And a lot of things were going on with these young guys. I mean, like I was in my late 20s, early 30s, and these young guys are like in right out of high school, if not in high school, having their own books. And I was like an assembly line worker, and all I knew was inking. Next page, boom, next page. And I talked to one of them, said, "Yeah, I'll show you how to do it." So I kind of figured, you know what? The only person that's going to get the a writing, skill to give me is me. So of all the books that I read, I love science fiction. The movies that I read, I did a blender mash of everything and put it together. And I sat down on the job that I hated during lunch break and I wrote. And I came home and I wrote. And then when it was all done, I looked at it and I go, yes, I put it away for 20 years and never picked it up. You know,
So
I
you
did.
just undusted this thing. You just undusted it.
I didn't. But say English does not aspire the writer in you. You know that your work is any good. But I just said, hey, you know what? What the hell? So I pulled it out of mothballs and I started putting pen to paper.
So
Right. So, what credits do you have with Marvel?
Inker at Marvel, at Punisher War Journal,
Yeah,
Sleepwalker,
or that.
um, Marvel Presents,
Yep.
DC. I think it was Legion,
Hmm.
and Image. It was Stormwatch.
Oh, right on. Yeah, I actually I might have some of those Punisher War journals. I might
Yeah,
have
that
one.
issue 74 with Frank Castle with what's her name? It's the female blonde Punisher. It's
Right. Right.
cover that one.
the
So
Punisher.
yeah,
Cool.
but that was
That's
it. So I
awesome.
just kind of figured to do my own book, and like I said, this year saved up enough money and
Nice.
push it out. Because I know broke people, so they're not going to give much. It's not going to go.
Hey, that's the small press all the
Just
way.
do it. Yeah, just do it yourself.
Yeah,
And
small press.
it's going to be this year. So by the
Nice.
fall, late summer, the
Very good.
fall, it's all going to
Very
be printed and ready for the convention trail.
Well,
nice. So
is this a continuous series or is it
It will be
standalone?
a continuing series, but this is going to be issue 1.
Okay,
nice.
cool.
And what about you, Hector? Other than the project
No,
that
for me, it's like so. Right now, yesterday we hit our funding goal,
did you guys?
but we're still,
Wow!
yeah.
Congratulations.
So,
You still online though?
yeah, it's all, yeah. We still
Oh,
got 17 days to go.
oh,
Maybe you can do one, Frank.
what's that?
Just like
Oh,
Hector
yeah,
did. He did a
crowdfunding.
crowdfunding.
I know broke people, broke people.
It, and it's a challenge. Because I started planning for this 6 months ago. I
Mhm.
remember during COVID and we were quarantined, and I'm like, and I released the I was supposed to hear the essentials, and then yeah, I was like, well, and a lot of my colleagues were like doing Kickstarters because comic book shops were closed, and we're like,
We
hey,
can do it,
let's
Frank. We can do it.
movies studio, I mean movie theaters, and so a lot of disposable income was just there, right? And so they started, just by just supporting crowdfunding campaigns, and
Right.
I
We
didn't
can.
really want to rush my project, so not in, and it's definitely it's a job promoting,
But look,
promoting and being on it. But it's great. I mean, it's just that there's this. I have such an excitement just to share this story.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic.
you can do the same, Frank. He just used his Kickstarter platform. Started it. I'll be your first donor. Get at least a $100 going, and let's do it. After
There
we
you go, Frank.
finish
You're
the
set up.
show,
Very bad.
after we finish the show,
Well,
Hector.
I meet
Actually,
with
he
somebody
shared
later
it.
this. I meet with
The-
somebody later this week to do a voiceover of the intro.
oh,
Oh, there you go.
So
oh,
that's
you
gonna be
guys can
fun to do.
cover
It's
it.
gonna
I
be
don't know.
straight. It's gonna be straight because everyone has this really cool like little mini movie of the whole thing. I go,
Mhm.
I don't know anybody. So I actually
Let's
found somebody through another interview like this that was more than once. I'd love to do it, Frank. I go, don't say that.
jump right on it. The divine doesn't knock twice. And I think when I saw Hector's Kickstart, the platform that he used, this Kickstart thing, it's
Yeah.
pretty easy. I went there, I did the pledge, and boom, it's done. And then I participated his opening. They look at his what 17 days to um. Jesus, my English and Spanish
Yeah,
is running away. I'm so sorry.
yeah,
I
to
understand Spanish very well.
He's ready to fulfill his goal.
yeah.
Right. I
So I
yeah.
think I think you can do it too. How much you started? Like 5,000, right, Hector?
It
Is it
depends
5,000?
on the project you're doing, because I do have, there's different, you have different just the different projects, and as well as how deep is your mailing list too, you know,
Hmm.
and it's a lot of pre work, and the first 24 hours are the most important hours. The the most important time. It's the middle and the end. Well,
Right.
sorry, it's the beginning and the end, and then
The
the
end.
middle, which the
I
middle
think
is
you can do
sluggish.
it. Because you
Right.
started this when May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, right?
Yeah, I did.
And today
Yeah.
is the 19th, and he almost, even though he only got the 5,000, is that how much it is? 5,000, right?
Hmm. Yep. Yep. We
Look,
started at 5,000.
so look
I've
at that,
had
19 days, less than 19 days, what?
right.
14 days, and he's that close to get $5,000 in less than 14 days.
That's
So
awesome.
once you declare it, you go to bed tonight, you say, I'm going to start this Kickstart fund tomorrow for your project. You declare it's done. You don't doubt it. That's
Okay.
it. You declare it, spoken words, the divine, the universe, the matrix, the powers that may be up there listening. You just
It's
go with
social
flow.
media.
Yes, I hope so because they started at the table. I tell you, you
I
know.
think you should do it. If Hector can do it, you can do it too.
All right,
I'm,
we'll
I'm
give it.
actually
We'll
going to
give it.
start
We'll give it a
one
shot.
later
We'll
on
give it a shot.
for my adopted farm. I'm going to use. Thank you, Hector. I learned about that platform through you.
Yeah. Thank
So
you.
I'm
Yeah.
going to
No,
use it to
it's
adopt a
great.
farmer. So when I'm ready to start my funding
Yeah.
for adopt a farmer, so I can work with a personal hero for the essential workers, I'm going
Oh,
to
Yeah.
start a Kickstarter.
fantastic! Yeah,
Yeah. So
whatever I
no,
can do, man. Whatever I can do. That sounds great.
no, we all can help each other. But I think you should get your thing going too. So you have so much creativity. Don't hold yourself back worrying about where the money on the tree. The money does come from tree. You know that, right? So I think
It's
if you
deep
have
under
that
the ground,
mindset,
really far,
right?
and I've only got one shovel, and it's broken. Okay, so
Yeah.
so these ones are digging through it. So it's
Yes.
fine,
No,
but
you
it's
just
there.
put it
It
out
is
there
there.
into the
I do see
universe.
projects like triple funded. The guy asked for 5,000, and he got 20, and I
Yeah.
go, holy cow!
We'll help
Yeah.
you.
How
We'll
many
help
t-shirts
you.
can you make, dude? It's like, holy moly.
Yeah, and it's a lot of the mainstream artists and creators do have those connections. They do that one network, the support from, because yeah, I mean they've done work with well-known
Right.
folks, and that helps. They already get a mainstream following.
But still, you've got other ones that are like, I don't know any of them. It's still really well funded very quickly. So I thought about it and I go, I don't know any of them. So uh, I'll give it a shot. How about that?
I think you're onto something. I just feel like you should do it. I'm just
Okay.
not saying just for. I'm just telling you, as I heard you, I saw the movie on screen, and that's how messages come in and out.
Wait till you
And
see the pictures. Oh my goodness. I've
that's what I'm
I've
saying.
got half the book
The
penciled in.
same with Nacho and El
There
Peso
we go.
Hero. Those are the movies that the people nowadays, what is going on in our country, people
Right.
need to see this thing, these kind of role models and superheroes that are there protecting and serving the public and fighting crime, fighting the bad guys, and our people, we the people for the people. We need to see that regardless of what is your background, because superheroes, they all come from all walks of life and any backgrounds.
That's
So we are the superhero. That's how the alter ego. We got to get into our superhero modes and have that moral stance and do what is right for our community, our
Yeah.
country, for all of us, for mankind in general. We got to do the best we can. And superheroes are kind of like the kickstart point for just about every person, because when we're little, we all think we're all superheroes. All these little girls and little boys that want to be Wonder Woman, Captain America, Batman, Robin, Spider.
right.
Of course, because it's our true innate nature that we humans, we are compassionate beings. That's our really natural state. And superhero is a great way, alter ego, to go about and do good in the world and in our communities and society. That's why I'm so crazy and going home about superheroes, because I believe that every single one
I
of us and the people that are listening or watching this later, we're all superheroes. You just gotta get your alter ego superhero on and get on with it. Get
absolutely.
out there and do good for your community.
Okay. It's you sold me. You sold me. I got it, and I'm gonna put it up. So
I
yeah.
put it up and I'll donate the $100 and we whatever is it that you need, $5,000, whatever, just like Hector
A
did, we
hundred,
can
a
do it.
hundred thousand,
Yeah, let's do a
Hey,
hundred grand.
100 grand, man.
listen, there is no limitation
Right.
for the
Woo,
universe.
Like
The limitation you created.
get a
we're
free
like
So
copy.
Brian
I'll
Polito.
walk it to
Brian
you. I'll
Polito
walk it to
here.
your house. Hey, man. Yeah, man. I'll walk over there, man. I'll get me a new pair of shoes. I'll walk straight up there. No problem. Done. You know,
when,
100
when is
grand.
the next when is the next convention that you just mentioned? One Hector, you said
The
which one is the one that's coming up, Frank?
the first
Oh,
one I
first
have
one.
is in August, and that is the Black Label con by Eric Cooper, a really nice guy. He has his own book, and he's running this thing in Philadelphia, um, in downtown Philadelphia.
And
So
when is
one
it
day,
coming up?
August 14th.
Okay.
August
And
14th.
what about you, Hector? Any convention coming
No,
up with
actually,
Rio
the
Bravo?
conventions have been really, like Frank was saying, it's been I haven't been to a convention since
God, yeah, I
2009,
know.
right? 19, actually, since mine, my, our Texas Latino Comic Con 2019.
Maybe it's time to
Um,
do a new one.
yeah, no, definitely. And so, I know that, uh, yeah, we have Texas Latino Comic Con, and then there's one in near Houston, Baytown, a friend. I'm a guest for that. And so, and yeah, I mean, you never know. I know that once the conventions start, I mean, it gets crazy and right. And so I'm not looking forward to the convention crowd, the convention sick, you get sick
It's
in
a
the
lot of
convention.
work. It's a lot of work.
It's fun. It's a rush. I love, being there talking to fans and being at a table and just, socializing and being with my fellow artists, just hanging out and
Great.
walking down the artist alley, buying more than what you've made that day.
All goes back in. It all gets recycled. You know that.
Right, exactly. So
It's funny you mentioned that because I did. So wait a minute. I only made $50, and I got $60 worth of crap. Why did I buy this? Because somebody
I'm like, yeah, I
somebody else
did this
bought
for
mine too.
research.
It
Okay, yeah.
just kind
I
of
would
like
support you.
rolls around in the universe in some way. It
Exactly.
just never ends up in my bank account. What can you do?
Yeah, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that and and maybe, a convention that's out of the state or, but it's yeah, it's something that you take for granted, but you miss. Or,
I think I think you guys should get one going, especially one that is going to be calling all those superheroes that are trying to bring diversity and inclusion and have all the superheroes that represent every person in society. As you know,
well, you
we're
you actually have Nerdtino in Philadelphia. You have Nerdtino.
Nerd,
Um,
yeah, that one. I went to that one, yeah, once.
right on.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's
so you have
those conventions
Latino,
are there. Yeah, they're
you have
there.
Latino Comics Expo in Long Beach.
Yeah.
Next Latino Comic Con here. Then the Brown and Black Comic Convention too by Professor Frederick Aldama too.
Have you guys thought of doing? I mean, not that I just thought of this. How about like an online convention? Can that work? Could it work?
Uh,
Hmm.
I've never done it, and I see them. They pop up, and I kind of figured, how do you sort through all those people? But I mean, as much as brick and mortar is an issue, I do like going to these new places, sitting down and talking to massive amounts of people. Um, Online is, I don't really know how well that works. I've never really tried it. So, but I really like the sit down, meet the fans type of thing.
Yeah,
What do
no,
you
I
think, Henry? You
with
think
art,
that's something that could be doable? Doing like a
it is
convention
doable.
online? It's doable, right?
We did it with Texas Latino Comic Con last
Oh, you
year.
did. Oh, you did.
Yeah, it was virtual. You can check out. We did virtual panels, like we're doing now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so um, it was great because it gives you a lot of, it's more accessible towards other people other than that area, right? And even for me, that myself and Kevin Garcia. We were the host all day. I did it from 11 all the way till 10,
Wow.
and so it was yeah, it was fun though, because I was here with my setup and having guests, taught you just having a good time. But yeah, it is tiring. You get tired at the very end.
Very good. Well, you see, it can be doable. Hey, you never know. I'm just throwing ideas for your
That's all it
friends.
is. You just put them out there, and you
I'm
never
like
know.
you. I'm just learning. I just like to support my superheroes.
Oh,
That's fine. We appreciate it. I really
No,
do.
of course. Like, let me ask you something, guy, really quick. What will be your advice or your suggestion to a little girl or a little boy that is considering creating a character, getting into a superhero kind of thing because they want to help their communities in some way? What advice would you give them? How you get into learning how to draw the superheroes or create
yeah,
your own
Frank.
superhero?
Just do it. Just learn as much as you possibly can. Be creative. It's yours. Okay. For whatever purpose you wanted to serve for you, do it. Go for it. To go into the industry, okay, that's a bit more. That's a bit more professionalism in as far as your work goes. Penciling, inking, writing. There's a bit of a level, And as a young person, you have time.
Okay.
Be creative. Express yourself.
Do you think
Learn
they?
all you can learn.
Yeah. Do you think that they need to have a bachelor's degree, or can they get some kind of skill set through the STEM programs that are now a lot of the high schools are offering? Is there like drawing in these STEM programs that they could
Okay, well,
approach?
all the drawing, starts off with the apples and oranges. If you can master that, you can work your way up to, actual group of people. It's all apples and oranges. You take the steps, go up to the next level. How far do you want to push yourself?
Yes.
Look, this industry does not pay a lot. You're happy if people like you. If you can live on sunshine, water and accolades, well then, hey, this is the field for you. But it's tough. It's tough. It's really tough. It
So you
grinds
really
up
get it.
people and spits them out easily. So
How
So
about
Frank, what was your page rate? I mean, if you mind me asking
uh,
back.
no, no, go
the,
ahead.
the the highest paid rate as an inker was
Mhm.
150 at Image. Marvel and DC hovered around 105 to 115. This was early 80s. And I got one royalty check from Marvel. And that was it. The rest was page work, just banging them out because I don't think I did anything higher than like the Punisher. But the Mutant books were the ones that were actually paying residuals. You know,
Oh, right. Wow.
yeah. So the other ones were kind of, but yeah, if you're okay with like $400 or $500, yeah, you got a residual. It's spent just as fast as you got it. But if you got
Right.
a couple $10,000 or more, well, then you're living pretty good. Every month, 9 months after the last book you did.
So Frank, you said that you were let go when Marvel imploded in the mid '90s, right?
Hmm.
And I remember that. I remember reading a Wizard magazine, and that's where I got my news, my comic book news, Wizard. And then one of the topics was, okay, well, what do you think about DC Comics buying Spider-Man, or who else might buy? You think all these ideas of Marvel selling their properties.
Right.
I remember that conversation when the
Um,
crash.
yeah, it was really weird. They didn't know. Look. I'm not really privy to the upper echelons of what is going on. It's the kind of the street level,
Yeah, yeah. Please share that with. I want to
bochinche
know.
type of stuff. I got
Yeah.
you know. Um,
Superheroes. How about
when
you?
they did the implosion, they basically did that was like mid '90s. The whole letting people go was like 93, 94, 95. They just cut the rope altogether, and they went from like almost 100 books to like 30. So that was a lot.
Um,
So um, they may have tried to, or wanted to, or kicked it around, but they knew the potential that Spider-Man had. Of anything of the movies, which were as soon as Jurassic Park came out, they knew the sky was the limit
Hmm.
because
right.
once they could do CGI really well, Spider-Man is very achievable. Um, uh,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the TV show, the Spider-Man, showed the limitations of what it was. They
Right.
didn't put too much in it, and plus, you couldn't get too much out of it unless you really want to kill somebody. Uh,
Yeah.
there was no green screen. Blue screen was barely being made from Lucas. With Star
Right.
Wars, that was all blue screen, but back in the day, there was no CGI. So until Jurassic Park came in and they saw that that price for making that type of thing came down significantly,
Right.
Blade was the first one because basically he needed very little CGI. That jump scene from the rooftop, landing. That was it. After that, it was
Just
basically him.
practical, right? Practical effect.
Yeah, they had to because it was not quite. Marvel wasn't quite ready to like shell out the money, or whoever was paying for it to really go for Spider-Man.
And that movie was a game changer completely.
Big
Blade,
time.
It was
Wesley
because
Snipes.
it introduced everything to it. It put them on the market that they could do movies. And now they say that, the first, black superhero was the Black Panther,
Panther.
which is not true, you
Who
know.
was the first one?
Blade,
Rick.
Wesley
Oh,
Snipes, Blade,
Blade.
Blade.
Yes.
Yeah,
See,
he was the first
interesting.
one, and he put
Mm.
them on the map.
Wow.
But
Yeah, movies with the film MCU,
with
right?
the film, yeah,
Yeah.
with the film,
Yeah.
because most people didn't even know who Blade was.
Oh,
But
yeah.
if you were a comic book fan, man, you knew who he was. And then Wesley Snipes on top of it.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh man, absolutely. His fighting ability, his look, his
Mhm.
attitude, how he carried the whole thing, primo.
Yeah.
Primo. So we were looking after that. Well, he's going to do Black Panther. No, no.
It's funny that you guys are talking about this movie, right? But I noticed that with Spider Man, it started with the kid that played Toby, somebody, the
Tobey
guy that
Maguire.
played Jerry Maguire. And now it has sort of kind of moved on. It's becoming almost like the franchise of 007 James Bond. It's
Mhm,
like new characters. There's this now young kid, which I liked. I saw the movie with this young kid, but they're like almost unknown actors. They're really new. But that new Spider movie, like they're all remakes. But I've noticed that they're changing the actors more sooner. Like they don't like Toby Maguire didn't do more than three, I think. That's it. And then they moved Tom to another kid.
I think so.
And
3.
there's the one that is right now, the latest. I think he's done two or three. I
Oh,
seen two of them. I don't know his
Holland.
name. He's really young. He looks like a teenager.
Yeah,
You know who I'm talking about,
Yes,
right?
I
Like
know who you're talking about. I can't think of the name. Yeah,
yeah.
I
Tom
can tell
Holland.
you I'm
Yes, you're
really
right.
names.
Tom Holland.
But what I noticed is that in the last 10, 15 years, let's say maybe approximately the last six, these new Spider-Mans that have come out, they have basically a new actor, a young actor,
Mhm.
Well, that's the thing within the Spider-Man history. There's always been he's always been a young kid, like,
a young
and that's
kid.
the thing.
Okay.
That's always been like,
Like high school, right? Yes, he's in high school. Yes,
yeah,
that's right.
and so bringing a lot of that drama and those teenage angst, and so making him very vulnerable too. I mean, it's one of the great things. I mean, Stanley as a writer was able to bring a lot of that humanistic
Mhm.
Yes.
or components, too. Um, but yeah, it's something that there's this history, and different movie franchises have taken little slithers of each part. We have I want to see a one where he's a university professor.
Oh,
Like a
I,
more
I
older.
actually thought that when Toby
There you
Maguire
go.
played him, that he was he was in college for some reason. Somehow my memory, like this new kid, he's in high school. Obviously, they go to a trip in Europe and hell break loose. That's the latest that I see.
Yeah, yeah, that's the one that came
That's
out.
a new kid, right? And the new guy that
Yeah,
is
Tom
playing
Holland. Yeah,
Spider.
Tom
it,
Holland.
yeah, and then there's a new Spider-Man movie coming out um, this December too.
Is
So
that the same kid or someone
no,
else?
it is going to include Tom Holland's character, but it might. I think it's including all the other Spider-Mans.
Oh my
Oh yes, yes, yes.
god!
I think I heard about that. Yes, they're
Yeah, so it's going to
pulling
include
them all back in. Yeah,
the different movie franchises into one.
yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be cool.
Mhm.
So, how about you, Hector? I know Frank answered the question. How? What would you tell a little girl, little boy to
Oh
go
yes,
into?
when
Frank,
you're
by the way, he's an actual teacher. He's an educator. What is your the school grade that you teach?
right
Uh,
now it's fifth grade.
fifth grade. Could you imagine this hero, this superhero dealing with these fifth graders?
Every
I think
day.
he's
That
funny
sounds
as hell.
that sounds great.
um, no, it's right with your heart, right with your background. Your personal who you are is your greatest strength when it comes to writing. You know,
Yes, writing
and
is
who your family is, and you know, and that's one of the key things is that if you want to be real, you want to be true to yourself. It start with that. And then start with that, and because that's a lot easier. We all love writing about talking about ourselves. So especially little kids like talking about themselves. So they can start writing about themselves.
well, guys, I
That's
think
true.
we're pretty much coming to closing up this. I didn't want to make it more than an hour. You guys been so gracious to come and play my sandlot and
Thank you for having me.
follow my silliness.
Well,
But I
absolutely.
had a lot of fun.
Not all,
Superwoman was cooking pork chops and potato salad
she's got to do
and yellow
something
rice.
time, you know.
You
That's
gotta,
what
you gotta
superwomen do.
eat.
We do it all.
There you go.
But this was great. Is there anything else that you guys would like to share? Like how they can find you, Hector? I know I'm sharing your information.
Yeah, you
Your
can go
life.
to Kickstarter and search for El Paso Hero. Right now, we are going to our stretch goal, which we're about a little bit on. Yeah, we're a little bit under $500 away from our first stretch goal,
Wow.
which
You're
that means
almost
that
there.
everyone that has pledged will get an extra
Oh,
sticker. So you get this really cool decal, Paso Hero,
awesome.
Aztec glyph. So all pledges, once we hit our stretch goal, we'll be getting this
Oh, that's
awesome
great.
I
decal.
can wait. I can wait to get my stickers. I can put them
Yeah,
in my sticker
that's
collections.
awesome. Yeah,
This
very
So
was
nice.
appreciate all the
awesome.
support. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I will definitely be a part of that one.
And here's the ticker. Right as Hector was talking, mi gente, you guys can see the actual Kickstarter campaign. So you guys can go out there and support Peso Hero. And I know we're going to get Frank to do his own pretty soon. We're going to be supporting Frank also.
As we
So he
sign
can
off,
do
I will be on this computer.
Kickstarter, put it on, and I'll be the first one.
All
And
right.
we'll get that Mira touch going.
All
Send
right.
We'll
it out there
definitely
to the
share
universe.
definitely
Take
share it
care of
on
it.
the social media webs, Frank.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
appreciate
You
it.
have
Thank
spread
you
the
so
word.
much. We will. I'll put that on there.
Please do because I'll be the first one too. I was there for Hector in May 5th, and sure would love to be there
Thank
for
you
you
so much.
too. You're welcome. It's my pleasure. I do this out of the kindness and goodness of my heart. I truly believe in the kindness and goodness in people. Sometimes we run into bad apples, and that's when we gotta put our superhero costume and do what is the right thing. It's all about keeping law and order. That's the law of the universe. Be kind, be tolerant, be respectful, be considerate. Even if you don't get your way, whatever you want, that's why we have law enforcement community. They're here to help our communities. Just like we support them, they need to support us. So yeah, we're all superheroes. We're in this
We all need
together.
to support ourselves too, our own
Exactly.
as well. Our own
Exactly.
as well. I mean, the strength in numbers. Uh,
Right.
a hand, fingers are. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's weak. That's strong. So when we pull together, like other communities, we'll be as strong as them. So
Exactly.
we can actually edit our own. We can actually support our own. So you know,
Much,
So
much love and respect. Thank
guys,
you.
thank
yeah.
you for
Thank you
coming
guys.
in to
Hector, so
indulge
cool
me.
meeting you. We'll talk, man.
Honor, brother.
Absolutely, man. Same here, man.
It was a
Go
pleasure.
Texas.
Thank you, Hector. I love you guys. You're like my brothers.
Yeah.
Be well
All
and
right,
be in
guys.
touch. Keep doing the superhero thing.
Sí.
You got it, man.
God
Peace.
bless you. Bye
Adiós.
Peace,
bye.
guys. Leia.
Good night. Gracias, mi gente, for
Gracias.
joining me this afternoon. And Let's say hello to the superheroes. Bye
Mhm.
bye. Later. Have a
Later.
great evening. Bye bye. Frank, un placer. Chao, mi gente. Que pasen muy, muy linda tarde y espero que todos estén in your superhero mode. Do good and always honor grace, and that's your superhero. Being present, be the grace that you are. Bye bye. Hasta luego. Chao, chao. Bye bye.